Hi there folks, this is Big Doug Outdoors. Today I want to do a review on my little crappie tackle box that I have and some of the tackle that I use out there to try to catch these little rascals and bluegills as well. So I'm going to show you real quick what I have and what I use, so stay tuned. First off, I highly recommend get yourself a good little tackle box. You know, something, you don't need anything real big and bulky. You know, you can have a couple of these around and take some and put them in your vehicle or whatever. But this one came with 3 trays. I know I got 4 of them here, but one of them I keep with my catfish tackle box, backpack, sorry, for bluegills, because I've got real tiny hooks in here, and I like catching the littlest bluegills out there. You know, I've got different sizes with different brands, eagle claws and everything. I've even got hooks. It's kind of cute, but this thing is just super tiny, as you can see right there, that I use for catching bluegills with whenever I need some for fishing catfish with. And I use these little floaters. It's got the weight already on them. You know, I mean, you can use different things as you want to, but basically that's what I have for my bluegills, because I usually use either wax worms or little red worms. And then this here is my crappie little tackle box. The one I showed you, it's got 3 trays. This floater is a spring-loaded floater, as you can see. Works really good for catching crappie, especially during the winter months, because crappie feel a little sensitive, you know, feel a little bit of a resistant. They will let go. They're just that way. They'll spit your bait right back out. That's the reason why I use these little floaters. And I've got different ones. They're little slip floats, basically what they are. And I got this one, just standard little slip float. I recommend using those if you're going to fish from the bank, because I use them with jig heads and stuff like that. Then got my bobber stops. I've got different size hooks. I've got me some little bugs, like beetle bug things, or whatever you want to call them, too. And they rattle. They got a little bit of rattle to them. I got, you know, as you can see, I got 4 different ones, different colors. I got white and black. I got the like a reddish and black color, a green and black and orange one, yellow, black and orange one. These work pretty good for catching crappie and bluegills. Bluegills actually will bite them things. And then I got my Foley spoons. And here, as you can see here, I got a white one. It looks silver, but trust me, it's white with little red dot, little orangish red dots. And I've got an orange one and then a reddish orange one. And I got my little beads for my bobber stops. I've got some plugs in there, and then I've got some little spin bait, rooster tail like thing. Because sometimes, you know, crappie will bite just about off of anything. Sometimes, like what bass eat, crappie will eat as well. So, and they also, you know, you can also get minnows, live minnows, and crappie will eat live minnows. And little shiners, or as you want to call them, whatever. But anyways, I've got different jig heads, different colored ones. I got the lime green jig head. I think it's a 1/4 ounce, so it's a little on the heavy side. And then I've got the little swim bait, or whatever you want to call it, piece of little rubber thing is on here. It's like a green color with orange and little black speck in there. And then I've got a yellow and white one with a 1/4 ounce jig head there, yellow one. And then I got a white one, white jig head, it's a 1/4 ounce, with a silver and blue, with blue silver flakes inside there. A little jig body. And then I've got a pink one, which I think this is a 1/16 ounce jig head, with a pink and like a lime green color body, you know, with sparkles in it. So I got 4 different kinds of these. I got the black and white, the green one, orange and black, then plain white. They're all, I think they are a 16th ounce. And then I like little swivels. These little swivels with the little hooks on there, as you can see. These are real super tiny, as you can tell. I like using them. And then I've got swim baits here. I caught a really nice bass off of this about a couple weekends ago. Those do attract crappie as well. And I've got smaller ones, as you can see. And then, you know, I've got a little curly tail with about I'm going to say about a 1/4 ounce jig head and stuff. So, but basically that's my little jig heads and swim baits there that I use for trying to catch them elusive crappie where I've been fishing at for them. And then I've got some other different size jig heads and curly tails and little split tails, if you want to see, with the white and yellow, you know. And then I got the clear ones with the little black specks in them, little split tails and stuff. And I even got one that looked kind of like a little bug. It's black and yellow with a, I think it's about a 16th ounce jig head. You can see there. Those work really good too. Then I got the little spinner, what do you want to call it, turn it into like a little spinner bait. Those work really good for the jig heads whenever in the summer or springtime. And that's basically what all I have in there, right there. And then I got, you know, as you guys already seen, these here, they're little 2 ounce Mr. Crappie, you know, little bodies, you know, jig head bodies and stuff, little rubber pieces that goes on there. And I got 4 different colors with it. I got the, as you can tell, the clear with little black specks in it. And then I've got the pink and green one with little silver sparkles, I call them. Then just a standard yellow and white. And then I got the blue and silver with the blue and silver flakes inside the body. And then I got the orange and yellow ones with the little black flakes in them. They work pretty good, it seems to be. I haven't caught anything yet off of them, but everything I've seen on YouTube, you know, seems to be doing pretty good. And then I recommend getting you some little split shot sinkers where you can put them on your thing, especially if you use the slip floats, because you want that to be able to weigh your bait down. And then I've got these little glow beads that you can put on there. It kind of helps it to be visible when it's in dark water. And then I've got these little power baits, and I recommend don't open these at home because it might make your wife a little mad, especially because these little buggers stink. They got a really potent smell, trust me. And then I've got these here. I recommend getting you a pair of good little scissors. You can pick these up at Walmart for about $2. These are Ozark Trail, I think, if I'm not mistaken, brand. They work really good. And then I've got these surgical clamps that works really good as well, as you can see. And it's got, as you can see, the little teeth in here that they lock each one and push. You'll hear a click. Listen. And makes it kind of nice because you can clip on to your hook or whatever and pop it off or something. You know, works pretty good. And I use these little needle nose, you know, either pull hooks like that, or I use it mainly to have to put my sinkers on where I can cramp them down a little better. And then basically that's what I have for my crappie fishing. in my arsenal right now, because like I said, I've just started out doing crappie fishing this past year. Started in the fall, and there is some things that I have caught crappie on. I know this summer when I was trying to catch bluegills, I like using those little wax worms that you can get from Walmart for a couple bucks. They work really well for bluegills. Highly recommend them. And as I was fishing for the bluegills, I ended up catching some crappie. And also, I highly recommend before you do anything like catching crappie, bluegills. I know some states they allow you to use bass to fish with, as long as they're in the legal limit, and also your legal length. I'll get it out. And crappie's the same way. Crappie does here in Indiana where I live at. I do know some lakes they do have regulation on how long they have to be before you can keep them. But the lake that I usually fish in does not have any regulations on it. And there is a bag limit, as they call on them. There's 25. And I know this past summer, Indiana passed a law to where you're only allowed 25 bluegills per person. So keep an eye on that. Watch out for that, folks. Because, I hate to see anybody get in trouble by the law or anything, or pay a fine, because you can get a big fine. They can even go as far as taking your fishing equipment away from you if it's really bad. So, but I highly recommend keep up with your laws and stuff. And how I found out about the bluegills, it was by a guy out there fishing one day. And he had approached me because he knew I caught bluegills and I'd keep them. Because I like to keep anywhere between 2 dozen to about 4 dozen in my bait tank. So that way I can use them for live bait to fish for flatheads and stuff. So be very careful with that, because I usually catch bluegills that are about 3 to 4 inches long, and then my bigger ones I usually keep those for cut bait and stuff. And that's I looked it up with crappie. Crappie you can use for cut bait or even as live as a bluegill, but there is a bag limit on them. Again, like I said, so that's one thing. Read your rule books and stuff like that. I highly recommend that. Or if you know a DNR officer or a game warden, depending on what state you live in and what they call fish and wildlife, because some places call them DNR, some places, states call them game wardens. Get with them, find out, get to know them in your area as well. So that way, if you do have a question on something that ain't in the handbook, or somebody approaches you and tells you about something like that, you can get a hold of one of them. Because I know here in Indiana, I've called about the bag limit on bluegills, for instance, and I got probably 3 or 4 different people, and none of them even heard that there was a law getting changed here in the state of Indiana, until I ended up calling my local DNR officer. They ended up patching me through to one, and he told me that he advised me that they were going to pass it, and if they do pass it, it ain't going to be noticed right off bat. It could be 2 years down the road before it shows up, or when you look it up online, it'll show up on there, because you get your rule book for fishing and also hunting, and tells you new laws that got introduced and stuff like that. Sometimes that's not in there until next year, maybe, or a year and a half or 2 years before it finally shows up in there. So, but that's our responsibility to make sure we know those laws. So that's the only thing I'm going to talk about and say. And just want to thank you guys for watching these videos, and good luck and God bless in your upcoming hunting and fishing here in 2020.